Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. So we have Marcille and Laios on Reddit recruitment banner. Today we're going to talk about Marcille, at least in this video. And should you pull her? Should you pass on her? The first thing to mention is we have 28 days in the banner, which is plenty of time to decide. Don't, for example, get too caught up or under pressure right now. It's always better to wait and see for at least 10-15 days because, of course, it is going to be a big investment. Now, Marcille in PvP has kind of been stomping right now. I'm going to show you some replays, even testing against an enemy who has a Paragon 2 Marcille. And honestly, she is kind of broken. Like, honestly speaking, as a damage dealer, which is her role in PvP as a nuker, she has great initial burst damage. She doesn't even just rely on her ultimate. Of course, when she casts her ultimate, she's even stronger. But you need to have good support with her on a team. For example, heroes like Alicet to support her, Lightbearer faction talent tiles, Hugin in front of her, things like that. Even Rowan to give her some survival. So Marcille has some survival issues of her own, but she also has insane damage output. For PvP, it is completely kind of ridiculous. In Dream Realm right now, no usage, but we're in endless bosses, so we have no idea whether she can be used in pre-endless bosses, and there's no way for us to really figure it out, unfortunately. So we just are completely in the dark about her for Dream Realm, but obviously she's not good for endless because she doesn't have true damage, she doesn't have HP loss damage, she just has insanely high damage multipliers. So let's go ahead and go through her skill kit. So she begins with 400 pre-fill energy, and the passive is all of Marcille's skills will require chanting to cast, and her chanting speed is affected by both haste and attack speed. She will continuously attempt to cast her various skills. Each time Marcille finishes chanting, she permanently increases her haste by 10 and energy recovery by 5%, stacking up to 10 times. So this is up to 100 haste bonus, up to 50% energy bonus with enough chanting. And then active, Marcille immediately spends 200 energy. So she doesn't even need the full 1000 energy, right? And continues to chant at a cost of 80 energy per second. Summons Skyfish to dash across the battlefield and deal 550% damage to enemies in his path. The base chanting frequency for summoning Skyfish is once every 2 seconds. And this is strong, right? She doesn't need 1000 energy. She just is ready to go and burst people even with 200 energy, like with her initial starting energy. And then she can summon it and keep it running for 80 energy per second, which is not a very expensive cost. So that's why she's been nuking people within seconds. Like literally within 5-6 seconds, the enemy is dead when you're using Marcille as a nuker. Dunlinger can delay her. Obviously, Dunlinger will prevent her ultimate. However, her other skills also hit really hard. So you can potentially nuke even through a Dunlinger, but definitely Dunlinger is like the #1 counter for Marcille right now in terms of utility. An explosive spell, this is going to be, don't worry about the cooldown because it's going to be depending on her chanting. So after chanting for 3 seconds, she's going to launch an explosive spell in the area with the most enemies. That's 400% attack multiplier, and also hitting adjacent enemies to that target. And this is overall very powerful and also gives her nuking potential even without her ultimate, just from her skill. Magical flash, and again after chanting for 2 seconds. So this is also going to come out with another, so she's going to be like simultaneously casting multiple skills at the same time just based on her chanting. So this is every 2 seconds of chanting, Marcille generates a magical flash of light around an ally surrounded by enemies. So again, in grouped up enemy territory, recovering health, so that's sustain, and also dealing 300% damage to all nearby enemies, and blinding them for 4 seconds. And blind is very strong because then it prevents heroes from normal attacking, and of course normal attacking is really important. Even if the hero isn't a normal attacker to begin with, the normal attacking allows them to charge up energy, right? And if you're just blinded, you're not doing any damage to enemy, and you're not charging up energy effectively either. And then you have Hero Focus. Marcille increases her haste by 18 during battle. While chanting to cast her ultimate, she increases haste by an additional 8. And when you look again at the haste, her chanting speed is affected by both haste and attack speed. So with enough haste and attack speed, basically these chanting, even as a 3-second cooldown, 2-second chanting, is going to be even quicker than that, based on haste, based on attack speed. And so she's just going to be cycling massive damage. She's basically like a damage producing turret. Her ultimate, of course, is great additional damage, but even without that, she's going to hit hard. And then you have Ancient Magic. She generates an Ancient Magic circle at her feet. After chanting for 3 seconds, Marcille revives an allied hero and recovers. So this revival, honestly, is one of the least important things of her kit. it usually doesn't make the difference, like between a win and a loss. It just comes down to, can she nuke people fast enough? So this is really an awkward skill. If Laios is on the team, then it will also be an additional revive onto Laios, but otherwise it will just be one of your allies that she will be reviving. Then they will recover health when they revive. Level 3, while chanting to cast the skill, the Ancient Magic Circle deals damage each second to all enemies and converts 100% of the damage dealt into additional HP for the revive ally. So that's just some bonus damage after an ally has basically fallen. But really with Marcille, it's a race to the finish. Is either she will burst the enemy or the enemy will kill her, and it will only be one of the two things. If you try to stall into Marcille, it isn't very effective, honestly speaking. I'm even going to show you some replays of like Igor stall into it. There's a chance of you winning, but the thing is, like we said, her best ally is Alicet. And Alicet hard counters those Igor Stroll teams because their ultimate is just going to execute Igor potentially, or just deal massive single target damage and eliminate the entire enemy team. So like if you're running Alicet and Marcille together, because Alicet provides that survival to Marcille, which is very essential. Also, she just boosts like the damage output of Marcille, which is also very strong. Increasing her range, which probably isn't needed. She already has high range, but then also providing that other like utility to eliminate those Igors or things which are going to try to deal with you. And also, of course, the way to counter Marcille is kill her fast. So if you have an Athalia trying to nuke her, Athalia is going to counter her. But if the enemy has Alicet, it is going to make it harder for Athalia to actually nuke the Marcille. Then the Enhanced Force, the Supreme Plus. During battle, Marcille recovers 10 additional energy per second for each ally who is currently providing her with a buff. Up to 3 stacks. At 3 stacks, she becomes unaffected. So unaffected is also strong, immune to crowd control. And she gets more energy recovery, and basically she'll have enough energy recovery that she can permanently maintain the uptime of her ultimate and just massively be nuking the enemy team. So of course she's going to scale really high on high haste and attack speed. That's important. She scales on buffs, so you want to be buffing her, and that's why heroes, and you want to give her 3 buffs ideally for those max stacks. And so even Divine Favor Artifact is going to count, and it's very good for Marcille, Divine Favor Artifact. So now let's go ahead and show you some actual domination. Like people have sent me replays, but I've also done testing, and I think we will begin by showing you some of the testing I've done. Like, look at this. I was trying different things, right? Okay, so Pandora Shamira. I thought, does Pandora Shamira have a chance into Marcille? And this Marcille enemy team is 2 heroes Paragon 2. I'm fully Paragon 4, right? I'm using the standard Pandora Shamira team, so obviously I have the Paragon advantage. But we're going to show you what happens here. So let's go ahead and turn it into 1 speed. So Hugin is buffing up Marcille, and then the tester is further buffing up Marcille. Look at that damage already. Ludovic is almost dead. Now thankfully, because of that burst healing, Ludovic can now sustain some of that damage, and then look at that burst again. And then Pandora is dead, but at least Shamira was able to come out of the box, and she's casting her ultimate, and then boom, it's over. 81 seconds. Like, that's as long as you're basically going to last against Marcille, unless you go for more Stroll comp. So, one crazy thing. This was really crazy. So, an Igor Damon team, it actually ended up in a victory, but not very convincing. I'm going to show you what actually goes on here. So, this is what happens here. This was a team that I was running. Pretty standard Igor, Citrana, Bonnie Dot team. And because of the Tessio and then like the tankiness of the team, they actually take and survive for a pretty long time. Siren is even able to get off an ultimate. And now Igor isn't even able to stall effectively because, like I said, Alicet is going to come through and say, Igor, you're dead. Look at this. Igor's dead. So Alicet really is kind of essential with Marcille to counter the Igor. In the end, Damon somehow really tanks the Marcille well. But the shielding, I think, really can out-tank Marcille, but it cannot out-tank Alicet. Here we do manage to win, but Alicet can sometimes solo at the end, right? Alicet has great single target damage and can even solo the Damon. But basically, that kind of shows you what's actually going on here. Okay, all the other teams were a failure. However, the pay-to-win teams, of course, are going to destroy it. Now, even at full Paragon 4, these pay-to-win teams I'm running, which are basically the top meta teams, Dunlinger to counter the ultimate, Alicet, you know, for survivability, and then Athalia just nukes her. So, like, if you want to show Marcille getting destroyed, I'm just going to show you this replay. So Marcille is a great nuker. You're going to see the damage output from her here. It's still pretty meaningful, but without her ultimate, because we have Dunlinger blocking her, it's not going to be anything crazy, but there's still going to be high damage output. You guys saw, Marcille still did 22, even though we ran basically the biggest pay-to-win team. Marcille still managed to do 22 million damage, and they're down 4 Paragon tiers, right? So keep that in mind. And it is a Paragon 2 Marcille, not even a Paragon 4 Marcille. So that is something. Okay, so then I showed another one which is a bit more obtainable. This is just Alicent, Dunlinger, Athalia. So no Saida and Ravion Demon, which people have. This also really easily shut down a team like this. But the question is, and we're going to do some experimentation now. If, for example, you don't have Athalia, can another Dunlinger team work? Because the thing is, it's just a race to the finish, like we said. You need to kill the Marcille quickly, and Athalia is the best suited for that. Now, if you don't have Athalia, how are you going to make it happen, right? How are you going to make it happen against Marcille? So, let's just go ahead and try something. I do want to try a Dunlinger, I want to try a Dunlinger, Damon, Bonnie comp. Dunlinger, Damon, Bonnie. And let's go for Ludovic too, he's always solid. And then go for Satrana. Dot comp. And we're gonna try a team like this. Obviously, Pack Bond spell for more survival is kind of gonna be essential in a team like this. And I mean, Dunlinger's Bell is really weird here, but and also I just want Dunlinger to actually live. I want Dunlinger to live. That's kind of the issue. We could go for something like this, maybe. Go for something like this. Okay, Bonnie. Yeah, Bonnie gets... Okay, cool. I'm going to try this. Let's see what happens. Because I'm worried. Dunlinger's just going to get nuked quickly. So, like, Dunlinger needs to survive. Okay, good. So far, looking good. Looking good. Okay. They did burst the Satrana. Look at that. And looks like we're going to win. Yeah, we're going to win. Okay, so Dunlinger, dot comps. Dunlinger, Bonnie dot is still going to be an effective way here. But look at her survival. Thanks to Alicent. Marcille has good survival. And look at that damage. Even with the Dunlinger Bell, almost 30 million damage without even casting her ultimate. That's pretty crazy, right? That is very crazy. Okay, let's try Athalia now. Let's say you don't have Dunlinger, but you're going to go for an Athalia comp. Is this going to get the job done? Is it going to get the job done? I have faith in this comp. I have faith that we can get the job done with this comp. Let's see what happens. Because Athalia is going to still jump onto Marcille, but the thing is, she's pretty well protected in a comp like this. Like, look, she took that damage pretty easily. If Damon can somehow survive, then maybe Athalia can keep bouncing around. Yeah, they're too tanky. They're too tanky with Tessio. Tessio is actually really well made for... Okay, Damon is taking it. Damon is taking it. Okay, why is she not dying? Why is Marcille not dying? Marcille is the highest damage contributor, so my Athalia just fully laser focus onto Marcille, but she's just not dying. I mean, this obviously is a really good supportive comp for her with the Rowan potions, with the Alicent, with the Tessio. Like, obviously, without all of this support, she's gonna die more easily. But even this one, she was pretty resilient in a comp like this, and look at the damage output. So anyway, guys, overall, Marcille is pretty busted. Let's be honest, Marcille is a pretty busted PvP hero, hyper carry nuker. I definitely feel like if you are a high spender, PvP focused player, like I am as well, that's who I am, right? So I feel that obviously I'm gonna wait and see. But I'm probably going to end up Paragon 4ing her just because she is going to be meta for PvP as that hyper carry. Now, she's not needed. And apart from PvP, I don't know if she's going to have any usage. But, like, her kit is actually busted. Like, I really underestimated her in the skill trailer. But the numbers are just really high. And the casting frequency, like the duration of the chanting to trigger these skills is really low. That, like... She's a monster. Marcille is actually a monster. So let me know your guys' thoughts about Marcille in the comment section down below. For boss content, as I mentioned, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see fairly because In Endless, there's just no chance for her. She doesn't have true damage, she doesn't have HP loss damage. But for pre-Endless bosses, who knows? Can she rival Shmira? I have no idea. And we're not going to even be able to know that until future seasons, unfortunately. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think about Marcille. Are you planning to recruit for her? Are you hyped about her? Let me know if there's anything else I missed in this video. Feel free to share that in the comment section. And if you're not already a member of my AFK Journey Discord server, please join that. There's a link to that in the description of this video. And you can ask me anything about AFK Journey there. Also, if you're thinking about making a purchase in AFK Journey, please use my affiliate link for the official Farlight store. There is a link to that in the description of this video in a pinned comment. This is the best way you can support me and also gain 5% bonus dragon crystals on your purchase. So thanks for watching. I'll hopefully see you in the next video. And until then, everyone, peace out for now.